Dear viewers, welcome to the Investigator YouTube channel. Since the last time we were here, we discussed a lot of matters and so many stories went up and down and trending. This week, let me first bring you the weekly roundup of what we are going to discuss. Hot off the grill, many have been wondering where the former IGP, the Inspector General of Police, Kale Kayihura, has been and what he's up to.
General Kayihura, I have it on authority note that he has been pardoned, I think. Not by court, because we last had him before court. This is a man who was fired on Twitter. I don't know whether you know that. You remember that. Many Ugandans, we need a lot of reminders.
The life and times of Mose Radio. It's 5 years since his demise.
The guy reached Case Hospital when he was dead.
Are you sure?
He was dead.
Hope MUKASA, you remember his family saga between him and his ex-wife SHEENA, and the interference of the daughter who is known as Sabrina.
Normally, you need to know that we don't go knocking on people's doors to get stories. It is after when it goes out of hand on their side, that we get to know.
LETSHEGO, a money lending company that lent about 290 million shillings to a gentleman called Alex Niyonzima. Surprisingly, this same company is now demanding a ridiculous 600 million from the same individual.
LETSHEGO is in deep stuff, that ugly stuff. I think he's proceeding to court. His lawyers are doing something, and that is how the story is gonna be. We are going to follow up this story up to date. Some people call me Rutakome. Rutakome is a Uganda name for "to won't stop."
I am delighted to have in my company an admittist, Mr. Stanley NDAWULA, the CEO of the Investigator. Welcome, Stanley.
You are most welcome, Jaco. How are you today?
I'm ballistic, and you?
I'm good. Yeah, it was a nice week. We call it a Scorpius week, and all papers, like I've already said, PRO is out up to when they will register the last two pupil in the last school, I think, something like that. So the week, like you said, we have LETSHEGO, of course. We are talking of stories that are trended on our YouTube channel, and definitely the mother company, the Investigator Publications. And we have, you said of Hope MUKASA, we have LETSHEGO, and oh yes, we have a newest, the latest news about General Kale Kayihura. He has been pardoned and reappointed to do some duties. We are also going to tackle that. I don't know where you want me to start from. And then we talked about Mose Radio. Mose Radio is also making has made 5 years since his demise, and I don't know what exactly you want me to talk about him, but what I remember about Mose Radio is I talked to the doctor, one of the doctors, a few doctors who are doing the post-mortem, and he actually shared with me some of the photos, and it is sad to note, but it is true. I've known it all these years, because by the time I shared those photos, it was something like Mose was still in the news, something like 2 weeks after. But the guy reached Case Hospital when he was dead.
Are you sure?
He was dead, and the doctor told me, he showed me those photos, and I looked at the decayed rotten brains. And for him, he told me, now, you see, this kind of rotten brains, that is when he died. At Case Clinic,
Yes,
how long did he take there?
He spent a few days at Case Clinic, about 4 to something days, but the incident had happened almost a week earlier.
He told me, according to the brains, the depth of which rot and whatever status, he had spent more than the days he had spent at a Case Clinic dead. I don't know whether that's what you call
Clinically dead.
Yeah, so by the time, that's what always I remember about Mose, and how, I don't know why, but how people collected money using in the name of his treatment when the guy was dead. So Uganda, Olema.
Yes, still on Mose.
Rip was
Still on Mose, there has been talk that there have been a lot of misunderstandings between his immediate family, that is the mother, Miss Jen Kasubo, the brother Frank, then the two ladies in his life with his 3 children, that is singer Lillian Mbabazi and a lady whose name usually surpasses me, but I think she is Amber Gay something. What do you think about this family saga? And yet, after 5 years, they would have come to a cohesion whereby they could manage his estate.
Problem with the Ugandan musicians or artists, I think their life is always out there when they are living, and even after their demise. Because I don't know, I see Mose Radio's relatives, close people. Whenever I see any discussion to do with his property and whatever, I see outsiders more vocal than insiders. I don't think they have given them time to really sit down and amicably talk about these matters without hearing of the, what you call them, whatever. I'm not so good at issues in industrial. The industry of entertainment, but I think the family has not been given enough time and space to discuss their own issues. But that alone, in developed countries, I think by this time, I hear there is a time when I read of, was it Michael Jackson? He had made money in his days. He had made a lot of money, but I don't know what is happening in Uganda. I don't know why people die, and we keep listening to their works, and their families are suffering away. I don't know. It is you into that docket. I don't know.
Well, that seems to be trying, or Parliament is trying to rectify this through a singer come politician, Dr. Hildeman. He is trying to revisit the copyright law and have it streamlined so that these kinds of musicians, families, after their demise or even when they are ill, could earn better. But still on the same, I have heard that there is a group of legal practitioners who are actually sitting on to the final conclusion of this matter as regards the estate of Moses. And you seem to be in know of such. Is it true?
Not really. I won't go into that. But again, we are talking of external forces. Why them? Why can't we and Mbabazi and the mother, in whose compound actually even the vehicles, Moses' vehicles are rotting? I mean, what when they instead give them time and what? Or even arrange them into coming up with a tangible solution. Yeah, but I think, again, I feel like external forces should be should be suppressed in this matter.
Yes, whereas it's as sad as it is for a person of Mose Radio's stature, we pray that the family, like Mr. NDAWULA has said, will come to a cohesion and bring these matters to an end, most especially his children, who are until now are suffering or have a problem of having monies or upkeep that will keep their lives going on like any other normal child would be. So, Mr. NDAWULA, thank you very much. We now drill into another controversial issue that is to do with LETSHEGO and Mr. Alex Niyonzima. What do you know about this story? You are the writer and you seem to have investigated it to its fullest. Please share it with us.
Actually, when we wrote about that story, I wanted to read the headline. It was when we wrote that story, people were like, is this a fiction or something? The story is, I got shillings 2,090 million from LETSHEGO, paid it 292, that is 2 million away, but they sold my Uganda shillings 2 billion worth property, demanding for now 600 millions. So this gentleman is called Alex Niyonzima Kwizera, and that is the story as it is. The story is on our publication, online publication, The Investigator, and that has it went viral as well. But it is true. This is a true story. The guy borrowed initially it was 100. Then the following, that was 2018. The following year, 2019, they gave him 90 million and 100 to make it 190. Then plus the 100, of which he was paying interest. Then that makes it 290. So he started paying until when COVID hit the country, the pandemic came in, and everywhere, all of us, because any serious businessman has a debt here or there. So we were crippled. And after which, he again resumed to pay, but of course it was not as accurate as it used to be. So these guys, when they skipped all the regulations before they sold his property. They went into negotiations. This man, now they sent him a note that actually, after paying 292 million, now they demanded a balance of 300 something.
343.
43. So that is what makes it 600 in total. So he got auditors. They calculated everything and they found a lot of variances to a tune of 200 something, which brings to him he was supposed to pay 80 point something millions for the entire loan to do what? To get cleared and get his titles back. But to his dismay, his property was sold. What is very interesting, we are still writing, following up this matter because people thought it is like an act of art, but actually it is a true story. We are going to follow it up. I have a photo of the lady who purportedly bought that property at 800 million. I won't say much, but when you look at the photo and you look at the figure, you can see there is something that is not adding up. So Mr. Kwizera is now before UMRA. UMRA is the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. And before Central Bank is the one which, that is Bank of Uganda, who sent him to UMRA. and I think he's proceeding to court. His lawyers are doing something, and that is how the story is gonna be. We are going to follow up this story up to date. Some people call me Rutakome. Rutakome is a Luganda name for it won't stop. So normally when I touch a story, I don't stop until when it stops.
When you say Rutakome, or you
and on that very note, by the way, the CEO, Mr. German Giles, did not flee the country. No, he had gone officially, and I think he's even back in the country. So we shall also, but even if he doesn't talk to us, I have a lot of, I have his full report, which he wrote to Umra, so we can always write a balanced story with his side in.
So Mr. Alex Nyonzima's case is not an isolated one?
No, not at all, not at all. I have a personal matter with LETSHEGO. Mine was solved, but again, not without escapades. But according to what is coming in, I think LETSHEGO is in deep stuff, that ugly stuff.
Thank you very much for your insight, Mr. NDAWULA, on the LETSHEGO story. And right now, let's also dwell a little bit into a story that we, or the investigator, wanted to let others have. That is Hope MUKASA. Since we broke the ice, I see that very many people have taken on the queue. And the latest that at least we have heard is that the family members, most especially the ones on Mr. Fred MUKASA's side, have been trying to engage him into realizing that they should solve these matters amicably out of the press, since it was already determined by court. What is your view on that?
My view is always our view. We brought the story with, just like we said in the last episodes, we looked at the story as a of public interest, because when you see somebody you treasure a lot, you look up to, almost tearing apart his daughter, a daughter he once cherished so much, to the extent of having a club called Sabrina's Pub. Who doesn't know Sabrina's Pub anyway? So if that same person, daughter, is can't see eye to eye with the father, a father of a public stature, I mean, we found it a public story, and indeed we put it to the public against all odds, and I'm happy that it has reached there. We shall have seen many other papers taking it up, even those ones who called us and were like, you guys, what are you doing? What is that a story anyway? Now it is there. It is their lead story. I see them leading with it, but we are happy that something is being done, and that is what we do at the Investigator. We never go personal, but whenever we bring out something we feel like you need to know, the public needs to know, and something has to be done. Otherwise, it would have been headlines if we found MUKASA had killed Sabrina and maimed SHEENA in that, because we feel like no, they are private matters when we know about it. No, and normally you need to know that we don't go knocking on people's doors to get stories. It is after when it goes out of hand on their side, that we get to know, and we stop it from escalating to fatal levels.
Thank you very much. Now, the hottest of our portal, the Investigator portal, and what you're cooking, General Kale Kayihura. You two are not strangers.
We are buddies.
What's cooking, Mr. Ndaula? Please.
We are sour buddies.
You are sour buddies. So let us off some of the information that you're working on, and what is the hottest about General Kale Kayihura, your found friend.
I don't know whether it is the hottest, but what I know that many don't know, those who know are not supposed to talk about it, or they look at it as a normal thing. But unlike other generals who have gone out of favor of their master, the CIC, in this case the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, for General Kayihura, I have it on authority note that he has been pardoned, I think. Not by court, because we last had him before court, but now the Commander-in-Chief, I believe, like you know, he's a judge. Judge doesn't whip his kids using those strong strokes. Sometimes he can beat you like pushing you away. For people to think that he has beaten you, but actually he's telling you to step away. So General Kayihura has been, I think, pardoned. I would say, I think, because there is nothing. But this is a man who was fired on Twitter. I don't know whether you know that. You remember that. Many Ugandans, we need a lot of reminders. General Kayihura was fired he was sacked by the Commander-in-Chief, President Museveni, on March. It was March 4th, 2018. If I remember very well, 2018. He went on Twitter and fired him. Then immediately replaced him with the Okoth Ochola Senior Counsel, and he was eventually arrested on 13th. It was on 13th June. That very, yeah. But after arresting his, I remember he once told journalists, "I don't know why they're arresting my people." That's when Joel Aguma, Nixon Agasirwe, now they had even touched his soft nerve in the Chitata of Border 2010. Then eventually on June 13th he was also arrested. But now we are glad to report that after four, it is coming to 5 years, I think. But after that time, all that time, he has been cited doing official work in 102 army training schools, and I think in this March, something is cooking. The public might get to see him now back active in service. Most of this story is going to be, we are uploading it tonight, it is coming next on the Investigator publications, online publication. But that is it. Are you surprised that Kayihura is back? And but anyway, not in a big way, because but at least he has been, we have not seen him cleared by court, but we, as with the inner eyes, have seen him now conducting government official business, which assignment cannot be given by anybody else but probably the Commander-in-Chief only.
Do you want to tell us that he has done his homework, or there are other external invisible forces that have been working the mill? No. Jaja Mwami, like President Museveni, I like to call President Museveni because he called him Jaja, but even the wife is a Jaja, so that's why I call him Jaja Mwami. Jaja Mwami is that type. He's called to Habulwa. He's never advised on several issues, especially when it comes to things to do with the army. It is his army. Much as the MK these days in Nayaga, my army, but it is the CIC that he's never advised on that. So I believe he has been watching General Kayihura, and he's still watching him, because
when you look at the assignments he gives him these days, they are not those sensitive ones. I think he's keeping an eye on him. A whole general, generals never die. The real saying is old soldiers never die. They simply fade, but he has failed to fade. You don't put him in this category of the General Ivan Koreta and others. For him, he has not faded. The hitherto blue-eyed boy of the CIC is back and in action.
So, Mr. NDAWULA, and this, I think, wraps up our last week and entering into the coming week. Ladies and gentlemen, please, yes.
Today is Saturday. By the way, you didn't introduce yourself here.
Jaco David Waluluka, the one and only. Yes.
We also would like to humbly request you to subscribe on our Investigator TV. That is on the one you are watching now on YouTube. Just subscribe. We want to celebrate our 10th anniversary, the past decade of our existence, when we have some tangible number of subscribers. Now we are going to enter into the second decade with a lot more. I'm back, myself and my team.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stanley NDAWULA. I have been Jaco David Waluluka tonight. Thank you.